Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Fang of Critias Lair of Darkness deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely nostalgic deck to summon out awesome boss monsters like Mirror Force Dragon, and then back it up with all sorts of awesome trap cards. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like in your name, description, every single video, gonna get signed cards in the mail, and even gonna do request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Lilith, Lady of Lament. This card is an amazing 3-of in the deck that has the ability, if this card is normal summon, its original attack becomes 1,000. And quick effect, you can actually tribute a dark monster to reveal 3 normal trap cards from your deck. Your opponent randomly chooses one of them for you to set to your side of the field, and you shuffle the rest back into the deck, which is an amazing ability, especially when you combine this card with a Lair of Darkness to be able to tribute an opponent's monster using this card's effect. We then play 3 copies of Tour Guide from the Underworld. Tour Guide is great as a 3-of in the deck to instantly summon out our copy of Lilith directly from our deck to our side of the field to instantly be able to basically go in for a Link 2 play, and I love that about this deck, and it's so easy just to normal summon out your copy of Tour Guide and bring out an additional monster to your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Arima. Arima is great as a 3-of in the deck because this card has the ability to instantly search out your copy of Lair of Darkness from your deck to your hand, as you can discard this card to add Lair of Darkness from your deck to your hand, and you can also tribute a dark monster to draw a card, or if you tribute a dark monster other than this card to activate this effect, and actually add a dark monster with 2,000 or more defense from your deck to your hand instead, which is a great ability to grab the exact card that you need, like our copies of Lord of the Heavenly Prison. We played 2 copies of Lord of the Heavenly Prison. I really like this card because it helps you protect your back row. It's just a really cool card overall in the deck. So you can reveal this card in your hand, it protects your back row, and you can also use this card and summon it out to your side of the field once you activate a back row to be able to set the exact card you want from your deck to your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Darkus Diabolos, Lord of the Lair. This card is really cool as a 1-of boss monster in the deck that's super easy to summon, and if a dark monster that you control is tributed, you can special summon this card from your hand to your graveyard, which is a great effect to instantly get this card out on your side of the field. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is really good as a 1-of in the deck to basically just use this card to help us dig into the deck for the exact card that we need, like the Fang of Critias. We then play 3 copies of the Fang of Critias. This card is such an awesome nostalgic card and the key combo piece of the entire deck to help us summon out our awesome fusion monsters like Mirror Force Dragon by combining this card with our awesome trap cards. We then play 3 copies of Lair of Darkness. Lair of Darkness is such a powerful field spell to be able to use with the Fang of Critias to basically just combine it, so we can basically use all sorts of awesome trap cards to combine with our copies of our fusion monsters. This card is the ability to all face-up monsters on the field become dark, and once returned, if you tribute a monster that you control to activate a card effect, you can also tribute a dark monster that your opponent controls even though you do not control it to pay that cost, which is such a cool ability to be able to use. This card also has to be once returned during the end phase, special summon as many torment tokens that are Fiend Dark level 3, 1,000 attack and 1,000 defense as possible to the turn player's field in defense position up to the number of monsters tributed this turn while this card was face up on the field, which is a really cool effect to be able to use because we tribute a bunch of monsters in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Super Polymerization. Super Poly is just really good as a 3-of in the deck to basically just fuse your opponent's field away and break their board. This card works really well with our copy of Lair of Darkness, especially since Lair of Darkness turns everything into a dark, because we can easily step into cards like Starving Venom Fusion Dragon because it requires 2 dark monsters that are on the field to be able to summon out to our side of the field. So Super Poly makes it super easy to break your opponent's board and summoning out Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with 3 copies of Trap Trick. Trap Trick is definitely a 3-of in the build, because this card helps us get to the exact trap card that we need, turns our 2-ofs into 5-ofs, and turns our 3-ofs into 6-ofs, because we're basically playing additional copies of any trap that we need in the form of Trap Trick, because you can manage any trap card from your deck to be able to set one of the exact same name directly from your deck to your side of the field, which works out really well with our copy of Fang of Critias to be able to use for our fusion plays. We then play 2 copies of Karma Cannon. Karma Cannon is really good in the deck as a 2-of to be able to use to basically break your opponent's board, because this card actually outs towers like boss monsters, because this card affects the player, not the monsters, which is insane. This card changes as many monsters on the field as possible to face down defense position. Then, if either player controls face-up monsters, they must send them to the graveyard, so they do not control any face-up monsters on the field, which is a crazy powerful effect. We then play 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison. Ice Dragon's Prison is really good as a 2-of in the deck to help us bring out boss monsters to our side of the field, as let's target a monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon to your field, but its effects are negated. Then you can banish a monster from both players' fields that have the same type as each other, which is a pretty cool effect to be able to use, but you can just bring back the monster to your side of the field and go in for game with it. You don't have to banish, but the banish effect is really cool. We then play 2 copies of Metaverse. Metaverse is really cool as a 2-of in the deck, just to basically help us get to our copies of Lair of Darkness. We then play 2 copies of Eradicator Virus. This card is really good as a 2-of in the deck, and I really like this card in the build, as this card lets us tribute a dark monster with 2,500 or more attack points, and then choose spells or trap cards, and then you check all spells and traps to your opponent's side of the field and your opponent's hand, and all cards they draw until the end of the 3rd turn after this card was activated, and destroy all cards of the chosen type, basically just shutting down an entire type of cards, and depending on what you're playing up against, this card can instantly win you a game. We then play 2 copies of Crush Card. Crush Card is really good as a 2-of in the deck, so we can summon out our copy of our Crush Card Dragon. This card is really good to be able to summon out to our side of the field, or just really awesome to help us summon out our copy of our awesome fusion monsters, and it's just a really cool card overall. So nostalgic. We then play 2 copies of Ring of Destruction. Ring of Destruction is great in the deck as a 2-of to be able to use to step into Destruction Dragon, and this card also helps us pop a monster on the field and also do a little bit of burn damage. We then play 3 copies of Mirror Force. Mirror Force is so important in this deck, and your opponent never expects this card. So when they attack, you just flip up a copy of Mirror Force, and they're going to lose all their attack position monsters. And this card also helps us step into our copy of Mirror Force Dragon, which is such an awesome boss monster. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with Mirror Force Dragon. Mirror Force Dragon is such a powerful card to summon out to our side of the field, and one of my favorite cards to be able to summon out of all the legendary dragon cards. This card requires a Mirror Force that you have on your side of the field to be able to summon out your copy of Mirror Force Dragon, and it must be special summoned with the effect of the Fang of Critias. It cannot be special summoned by other ways, but this card is broken because when a monster you control is targeted for an attack or by an opponent's card effect, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls, which is such a powerful effect to be able to use. We then play a single copy of Doom Virus Dragon. This card is absolutely amazing to be able to use their copy of Crush Card Virus plus your copy of Fang of Critias, and this card has the ability that when it's summoned out to your side of the field, if this card is special summoned, you can check your opponent's hand and all monsters they control and all cards they draw until the end of their 3rd turn after this effect was activated, and destroy all those monsters with 1,500 or more attack, which is a really cool ability. We then play a single copy of Destruction Dragon. Destruction Dragon is great as a 1-of in the deck, but this card works with our copy of Fang of Critias plus Ring of Destruction, and once per turn you can actually target one card that your opponent controls to destroy it. Then if it was a monster, you inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack points, which is a great effect to be able to do a little bit of burn damage while also popping monsters on the field. We then play a single copy of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. This card is our main Super Poly target to be able to use with our copy of Super Poly, plus our copy of Lair of Darkness, because everything on the field is going to be dark, and so this card is super easy to summon using Super Polymerization. We play a single copy of Dracostapelia. Dracostapelia is great as a 1-of in the build, because this card is a walking negate, and very easy to summon with our copy of Super Poly. 1 copy of Garua, and a single copy of Mud Dragon. These cards are just the best Super Poly targets in the entire game, and we do have the room and the extract, so these are just really good overall in the build. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code's great in the deck as one to help you summon out to your side of the field, plus it's absolutely massive when it touches the field and can pop multiple cards on the field. We play a single copy of Nightmare Unicorn to spin stuff. 1 copy of the Dark Charmer, since we do summon out a lot of Torment tokens to our side of the field, so it's very easy to be able to step into this card. Play a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight is really good in the deck as a 1-of, as this card is basically a double interruption and just really easy to summon. We then play a single copy of IP. IP's again really easy to summon out to our side of the field, especially since you can actually use the Torment tokens to step into IP, which is amazing, and then you can use IP to step into SP or your copy of Nightmare Unicorn during the opponent's turn. And like a single copy of Cross Sheep, since we do summon out so many different fusion monsters in this deck, this card is so cool to be able to make, as it helps us bring back a monster from our graveyard that's level 4 or lower, so we can keep going in for more Link plays. We then finally play a single copy of Link Spider. Link Spider is just really good overall in the deck, because we can use our Torment tokens to be able to make this card, and then step into a different Link monster, which is really cool to be able to do. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Fang of Critias Lair of Darkness deck profile, you should definitely give this deck a try, because it's so fun to be able to play, and it's insane how powerful this deck is to basically just use with all of these classic trap cards to be able to summon out some really cool fusion monsters. So, that's going to be this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.